Hello and welcome to Industrialcraft Part 1. So there's a few things that we need to go through today, obviously, because this is such a, important mod and I wanted to cover it sooner rather than later. So if we've got some copper cable here, and the hitbox is right on the little square in the middle, and then we get these cutters out, the insulation cutter. You can see that we can actually peel away the insulation there, and we've got some rubber there. And then if we just destroy this, we can see we've got some uninsulated copper cable, which is how, copper is like the intermediary process between the copper ingot and the fully realized copper cable. So one of the most important things in Industrialcraft is obviously power generation. And one of the base building block is this item here. It's a generator. It's got two slots here, and we can put a variety of items in here to kind of facilitate this bar filling up. And inside here we have a storage. The energy unit is funnily enough EU, which I think it may even mean energy unit. But yeah, now some energy units, for instance, if we put this coal coke in here, we'll take the 63 out, so there's only one piece in there. You're going to notice that this is going to go all the way to the top, and the reason for that is because coal coke is pretty much the best fuel that you can put in a generator, because it actually has 43,200 EU per tick in there. If we try the next item, which is simply coal, we can see that one piece of coal is also going to fill up the generator to the brim, and that's because a piece of coal is exactly the same as the capacity of the generator. So we'll just see it go all the way to 4,000, and you can sort of see with the graphic on the flames there, it's completely exhausted and it's completely filled up the generator. Now if we move on to the next item, which is scrap, we can see that 5 pieces of scrap are going to completely fill out the generator. That's because the scrap supplies 825 EU, with 825 times 5 being just over the 4,000 mark. So we'll see that scrap is going to just about fill up the generator with a tiny little bit to spare. Now let's try 5 pieces of wood, see how that goes. I've got down here is 750, so I think that 5 pieces again should be just about enough. We will see. There's the final piece. It's not quite filled it up. Well, 750 times 5 is 3,750. Okay, so that makes sense then. So yeah, it would need 6. It would need 6 pieces of solid wood. So let's. So yeah, so it's kind of a curious thing actually, because wooden planks, I've actually got them listed as exactly the same as wood. So it basically means that putting wood in. Yeah, okay, so so basically it's much more effective to use planks instead of solid wood. That's proven that. Okay, so the next one we want to do is sticks, and sticks has got 250 EU supplied within its frame. So if we put in 16 sticks, we should find that that's going to completely fill up the generator. And we'll just wait for those to go through. Seems to be going okay. Seems to be about halfway there. Yep, moving to 75%. And we can see that is going to completely fill up the generator, 16. Brilliant. Okay, and the next one we have is sugarcane. And sugarcane, I should notice actually the rubber tree sapling is actually only 200. So that would take 20 instead of 16. Now, with the sugarcane, do we have sugarcane? We do. That seems to be half of regular saplings, regular vanilla saplings. So that's going to be 125 EU contained within itself. So in theory, all we should have to do is just put these 32 in, and that's going to completely fill up the generator once more to its 4000 EU limit. We can see that a generator has got an output of 10 EU per tick. And remember, a tick is 0.05 seconds, so a 20th of a second. So yeah, so basically it's going to be like every second you get 2 ticks. So every minute you get no, sorry, every second, sorry, every tenth of a second you have 2 ticks. Every second you have 20 ticks, and every minute you have 1,200 ticks. Okay, and that didn't seem to do it quite enough, which is strange because that was 125. So I assume that we must have to that it's not worth quite as much. That is an interesting result nonetheless. I can't quite explain that because I did take this directly from the wiki. But I mean, we're probably not going to use it. And just for the sake of completion, we also have cactus, and that also says 125 EU is contained within itself. So let's see if cactus can do any better than the sugarcane did. Let's have a look. Okay, so it's the halfway point. It seems to be a little bit short again. Yeah, interesting. I have a feeling that probably just like one more of these would probably do it. No. Let's put another 2 in. Yeah, so that seems to be slightly irregular, that one. I'm not quite sure why they've changed that, but they seem to have. And yeah, I mean, obviously, I mean, this is funny because I was taking this directly from the wiki. I wasn't actually looking at the tooltips provided. And we can see that cactus is actually incorrect on the wiki, and it's actually been changed to 120 EU. So this is going to require more cactus to obviously produce it. And we'll get into the 50 heat. I'm not even sure what that is, but I'm sure I'll find out at some point in the very near future. So I thought a good way to round off this video would just be to give a very, very simple guide to these solar panels. Now they're not to be confused with the ones from Red Power, which are just flat wafers that look like they actually are panels. These are proper solid blocks, and yeah. So we've got the batbox, which takes 40,000, and it can output 32 EU per tick. And also the batbox has now got this. And if we look at that, emit if full, emit if partially filled, emit if empty, does not output energy. So this must be it. I didn't actually notice this before, but I assume this is quite new. But obviously with the release of thermal expansion doing this sort of stuff, it's going to be interesting, you know, to activate levers or doors or switches in maybe an adventure map to, you know, if for instance you could have a puzzle where you're collecting various energy sources, and you'd have to collect enough energy sources to say fill up the bat box, and then that would emit a redstone signal and trigger the release of a door, pistons, and all the rest of it. But that's a minor aside really. But if we now one of the problems I have is you can't actually seem to place it on top. So the best way to do it is actually just to put it down, and then getting underneath it, like so. And then obviously we need daytime. Let's go access. And we can see here that the bat box is filling up, and that's going in at 1 EU per tick. So like I said earlier, it's 2 EU for a tenth of a second, 20 EU a second, 1200 EU a minute, and 13,000 rather 500 for 11.25 minutes, which is also equivalent to a Minecraft day. So that's the sort of energy you'll get in a day. So you know it's going to take three days to fill it up. 27,000. Yeah, just under 3 days to fill it up. So so yeah, I mean that's really all I wanted to cover for this episode of Industrialcraft. Obviously it's the first one, and in the next episode there's a lot more to do, and I'm thinking about how to integrate with Buildcraft. Obviously, as you can imagine, it's you know, this is a large undertaking. It really is. It's behind this whole Feed the Beast is really, as far as I'm concerned anyway, powered by Buildcraft and Industrialcraft. I've seen it. It's the most, by far the most interesting part of the pack. So I'm going to try and spend a decent amount of time on it. And yeah, thanks for watching.